They are not going to help you if they do not like you.
Have you decrypted a single German message?
You will never understand the importance of what I am creating here.
Our patience has expired.
No!
Benedict Cumberbatch is the star of The Imitation Game. He plays Alan Turing, the British mathematician who led the efforts to crack the Nazis' wartime codes. It is the latest role for an actor known for playing everything from a Shakespearean king to a modern-day Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock's success is extraordinary, more than any of us could have imagined, despite him being a very iconic character from the page.
How do you prepare to come to that kind of character so that you want to be true to the character and yet at the same time you want to have your own interpretation?
Right. Well, I mean, as far as interpretation goes, a huge amount of the heavy lifting is done by Mark Gatiss and Stephen Moffat. I mean, all the heavy lifting, to be frank. Yeah. They invented the idea on a train, writing and running the Doctor Who series. Going, wouldn't it be interesting to put Sherlock Holmes in the modern day? And both being fanboys of the original, they take great care of the legacy of Conan Doyle's hero. There's a lot of crossover, and it's not just sort of wry hints and nods to the books. There are some very specific draws. And as far as my preparation for that particular iconic role, I've got the most fantastic blueprint. I mean, you know, Dr. Watson's writing as an observant man, being trained to be even more observant by Sherlock, but he observes his friend, his colleague, this hero, this extraordinary man in his midst with great detail. So you really do, from every physical gesture to mood swing, have this extraordinary map to sort of plunder every time we go into the series. I go back to the books all the time.
Let's take Alan Turing. I mean, tell me, when they called you, or when your agent called you, did you know who he was?
A little from Hugh's play, that Breaking the Code. Right. So Derek Jacobi was so extraordinary.
Exactly.
But that was a while ago. It was on television. I saw the televised version of the stage play.
So you'd seen that. You knew who they were talking about.
But primarily, no, I didn't. I didn't know that much about him.
Because I didn't either.
And that's, you know, the thing is, you read this script, and to start off with, you're engaged with this character who's utterly uncompromising. There's no vanity. He's not asking you to be liked. And it's funny. It's witty in its intelligence. And then you're getting embroiled in this mystery, both of the code and who this man is, and breaking the code and that eureka moment and the joy of that. And then the devolution into the tragedy of, or evolution into the tragedy of his demise, and the emotional impact of what injustice he was served and what happened to him, and the excruciating reality of that is only magnified when you realise, I didn't know this. Why don't I know this?
Me too. That was exactly.
Huge urgency then to tell the story. I thought, I really want to be somehow a part of this film because this man is a hero. He is the father of computer science, and computing, and computers themselves as a body, as a mechanical object. And a war hero in his work that with other great cryptographic
the war might have gone a different direction.
I mean, so some people estimate it ended 2 years earlier than it could have gone on for, thereby saving 14 million lives, which is an astonishing thing to comprehend. And then afterwards, a man who, for admitting his true nature, ended up being prosecuted and given this sentence of either 2 years imprisonment. Yes, after the 2 years chemical castration through weekly estrogen injections. So, you know, the world that he'd saved closed on him and punished him, and he saw no way out. He couldn't work, he couldn't love. He just wanted to get on with his private life, and nothing, either professionally or personally, was allowed to be his. So I think that was the doors closing all the time to the very end, where he took his own life.
Do we understand, is there evidence that he knew what he'd achieved and he knew its potential?
Sadly, I don't think so. That's a good question. I'm not completely sure of the answer, but I'm... One of the things that I'm most happy about in the film is the moment where Joan Clark, who Kira plays, says to him at the end, you may wish that you weren't different, but I can assure you the rest of the world is incredibly grateful for that fact. There are cities that wouldn't exist because of you. There are fields of science that wouldn't exist because of you, because you are different. No one ever got to tell him that in his life. So the fact that we honour him in our film version by saying that gives him our blessing, because no one got to say that to him in his life. He never heard that. And that's a great tragedy.
I hope you'll let us come talk to you after you mount the stage for Hamlet.
I'd love that. I'd absolutely love that. This has been a joy.
Mike Nichols.